Well, there it is. You saw it in real time. The mainstream media trying to control the narrative around what's going on in Iran. So in case you didn't hear it, because I know the audio is tough just because they were outside, but right then, that CBS reporter got a text from his producer, from his boss saying, we don't want you to cover this. This isn't the angle where we want our focus. And as you heard him say, I'm going to cover it anyway. So we saw the higher ups at CBS trying to control this narrative, but unfortunately for them, he actually ended up going live. This is CBS Austin. This live stream had almost 50,000 viewers watching it live, and the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Bibi." So it definitely is going against everything the Democrats and the media want us to believe. And it's not just CBS. Over on CNN, they've been inviting lifelong Democrats, and many of these Democrats, Iranian Democrats, and they have not been sticking to the party line. Just listen to Dana Bash's response when this was said.
This is a Berlin Wall moment. Let's tear this wall down. Then America will be safe without Islamic Republic. I love America. I love Iran.
Yeah, you could tell Dana Bash was uncomfortable and wanted to shut her down, shut her up, but she clearly didn't know how to do that because she doesn't want to be seen as Islamophobic or maybe even sexist. But clearly the mainstream media is having a hard time controlling the narrative right now. Iranians in the Middle East are just thrilled about what's going on. This is very different compared to what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. Just take a look at this. These are school children in Iran celebrating as bombs are literally dropping in real time.
زدن محمد حس چیه؟ حس چیه؟ خیلی خوبه
Yeah, that guy at the very end there saying, I love Trump. And those kids, they clearly are not terrified. They're not scared. They are celebrating what's going on. Now, speaking of schools, you've probably seen the reports and the rumors that the United States and Israel bombed a school in Iran. The original reporting was that 51 schoolgirls died, but now that death toll is up to over 100 people. If that is true, obviously that is terrible and it would likely be a war crime, but there are a lot of reasons to doubt that story. First of all, the only official source for that narrative is actually the Iranian government. So take that with a large grain of salt. Unfortunately, the Western media, they've been parroting the Iranian government's talking points without doing any fact-checking of their own, but there is a lot of reason to doubt that story. First of all, take a look at this map here. That school is in red, and the rest in orange is actually a military base. That's right, that school is part of a military base, and this isn't just common in Iran. We see this all over in the Middle East. We saw this in Gaza, where military forces co-opt civilian spaces. They hide behind innocents in order to attempt to shield themselves. But it's not as if this is just an ordinary girls' school. So this is from United for Masa. Masa is a woman-run organization inside Iran itself. So if an all-girls school in Iran was actually bombed, these would be the first people to speak out against it. But instead, they put this out. Images of the regime using school grounds to keep their tanks and military-grade weapons. I don't know about you, but to me, the people in these images, they don't look like young schoolgirls. Those look like military, fighting-age men who are training and preparing for war. Now, on top of all of that, we also know this, that Iranian ballistic missiles have a 9% failure rate. So essentially, 1 in every 10 missiles they launch is going to fail somehow. And a lot of times that actually means it's going to fall back to the ground. And there's already been a lot of social media rumor as far as images and video showing this, where a missile launches from that base and it fails and it falls back to the ground. There have been other reports, again, not confirmed. So I'm not saying that this is a fact. I'm just providing an alternative point of view. There have been reports that the missile that actually hit the school and exploded has Islamic Muslim writing on it. Basically, it doesn't appear to be Western made. Also, I would just like to point out that the visual evidence is tracking here. First of all, you see mountains in the background, and if you take a look at what United for Masa showed in that lower image, you can see the same mountains in the background. On top of that, we do know that Iran ended up closing its schools because of the US strike. So for those schoolgirls to be in session, it just doesn't make sense when the Iranian government said, hey, everyone go home. And I know the last clip I showed was boys celebrating in school school, but as you saw, they all had their backpacks on because they were leaving the school. They were evacuating to go back home. So a lot of this doesn't add up. And I believe, when it comes to situations like this, I tend to be slow to put out videos because I believe in the 48-hour rule. There's going to be a lot of mis and disinformation, and I pride myself trying to be as factual as possible on the channel. And when I do theorize, when I do say, hey, this is a possibility, I will be very upfront with that, like I was just a few moments ago. The reason the media and the Democrats hone in on stories like that is because they want to paint the United States. They want to paint Israel and Western forces as the bad guys in all of this. So whenever there's a story that makes us look like monsters, they are all over it. They try to make it go viral. And that's why they're not focusing on what's happening on the ground in Iran, because we're seeing celebrations everywhere. This is very different from what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is actually the moment when Khomeini's palace was hit. Do these Iranian women sound terrified, or do they sound really excited?
وای به تو زدن وای به زدن به تو زدن وای چیکار کرد
Giddy. That's the word I would use to describe them. They just seem giddy and excited and thrilled that all of this is happening. And that's why the media, that's why the Democrats are freaking out, because it's not just Iranians over in the Middle East who are happy about this. Obviously, the celebrations are here, not just in Los Angeles, but as you saw earlier in Austin, Texas. Well, even in Boston, deep blue Boston, Iranian Americans are coming out there chanting USA, USA, thank you, President Trump. Just incredible scenes.
USA! 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 USA!
That was in front of the Boston Public Library, but the marches were even larger in Washington, D.C. Don't forget, Washington, D.C. voted 90% for Hillary Clinton, 94% for Kamala Harris. And so whenever D.C., they tend to have anti-Trump protests and anti-Republican protests, and it's not hard for them to have a huge protest when 90% of your population is Democrat, right? All they have to do is walk outside their front door. But here, people had to try. I mean, anytime there's a pro-Republican or even pro-American protest in DC, it's usually people traveling to the area. Here, I mean, just the streets flooded with American and Iranian flags and chanting USA, thank you, President Trump. Incredible. I mean, just think of it this way. This very same week was the week we had the State of the Union. Iranians are more excited to be chanting USA than Democrats are right now. I think that tells you a lot about the state of the Democrat Party. They just, for whatever reason, don't have pride in the country. You never see that when there is a Democrat in office, right? No matter who's in office, Republicans are proud to be Americans, but Democrats, they appear to only have pride in the country when their side wins. It's really sick. It's really political, and it's unbecoming for a major political party. Obviously, all of this is still very fresh. You take a look at the polls. The majority of people do appear to support limited strikes at the moment, and that appears that this is what it is. There are no plans for boots on the ground. There's no plan for a protracted, prolonged war. All of this, I mean, look, President Trump, to me, he's earned our trust. We take a look at what happened at Fordo last year, right? A lot of people said, oh, that's going to lead to World War III. I mean, the U.S. just struck Fordo, and Israel carried out that war in 12 days. They called it the 12-day war, and guess what? It was over. No World War III. And so I think right now what we're seeing is very quick, very decisive action, and to me, this actually all goes back to what happened in January. And I covered this extensively on the channel, where the Iranian people, they were coming out, mass protests, mass uprisings, and a lot of people said, hey, is this it? Is this the revolution that's finally going to take out this extremist regime? And President Trump put out multiple warnings saying, hey, if you guys shoot your own civilians, we're going to hit you. Well, reports came out, 2,000 dead, 2,500, 10,000, 20,000. Right now, the estimates are anywhere from 36,000 to 41,000 Iranian protesters killed by their own government. Now, whether or not you believe in foreign, overseas U.S.-led interventions, I do believe that when the U.S. president sets a red line, he must enforce that red line. The world saw just how weak Barack Obama was, right? His infamous red line, and he allowed Syria to do whatever. Nothing happened there. But President Trump said, hey, if you guys shoot your protesters, we're going to take decisive action against you. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And so even if you don't, support action in the Middle East, I would at least hope that people would support, hey, if the president sets a red line, we need to keep that red line for all of our adversaries, not just under President Trump, but for future presidents as well. I think it is important for the sanctity and the strength of the Oval Office. So Khomeini's compound was actually hit during the daytime in Iran, and it took several hours for confirmation of his death to come out. First, there were rumors online, then the Israeli government reported it, then the US confirmed it, and it wasn't until the Iranian government itself said, hey, he's dead, that Iranians started celebrating. This is the moment the news broke. Before anyone even came out onto the streets, they were screaming, celebrating out of their windows. Some were even shooting fireworks. A pretty cool sight, pretty cool sounds here. Well, it wasn't just screaming outside of their windows and doors. People actually took to the streets by 1 a.m. Apparently, city streets everywhere were flooded with relevers and just people celebrating the great fortunes. Now, one of my favorite clips from this entire thing actually is coming from Sky News Australia, where a reporter, an Iranian reporter, actually started cussing out Khomeini. But before we get to that, I would like to thank all the members of today's Governor's Club: Glenn, Kenny, Esmeralda Real, Blue Witty, Jenny Rankin, Robert Sparkman, Super Roamer, Moon Fairy, RL1401, and ML. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I really appreciate you. I'm glad that you're here and enjoy the videos. Now, before we get to Sky News Australia, CBS did end up changing its tune, and they did start reporting on how thrilled the Iranian people are that all of this is happening.
The Iranian people, what are you hearing from them tonight? We know they're celebrating. What's the feeling?
It's an incredible dissonance that they had to choose war over a regime, but they were willing to do it. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you, America. It's not death to America after they killed the leader. The Americans and the Israelis did it. It's not death to Israel and death to America. It's thank you. It's a new day dawning, but very early days. Very, very early days. So we'll have to see.
As you can tell, they're already trying to subvert it. They're already trying to throw doubt and shade on everything. But reality is we can't judge the future before it happens. We can only take it day by day. And right now, it's a day to celebrate. The world is different. Iran and the Middle East, it's all very different. And take a look. Again, this is coming from Sky News Australia. She actually, I'll give the translation now before you hear it. She essentially calls him an SOB and then tells them to burn in hell.
I want to conclude this editorial with this message to the late Supreme Leader. پدر سگ خاک به سرت بسوز تو جهنم. Rowan.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Rita. James, don't you agree? I mean,
a little bit of gibberish version.
I don't have anything to add to that. That's it.
Just absolutely incredible. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So President Trump ran as the peace president. He's been obsessed with peace. Obviously, he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize, and he also campaigned on no new wars. So with all of that being said, what do you think of these strikes in Iran? Are you happy? Do you approve? Are you skeptical, somewhere in the middle, or do you disapprove? Let me know it down in the comments below. Personally, look, for me, I do not support a long-term war. I don't support boots on the ground, but I do support these limited strikes, and I do very strongly support President Trump holding strong to that red line and enforcing it. I think it's important not just for this specific situation, but I think it's important for Russia and China and all other countries to know that whenever the President of the United States puts out a red line and says, you shouldn't cross this, or the United States will take action, that, hey, we're actually going to follow through on our word. If you haven't already, though, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.